Hello everyone and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave, the Army of Otters here, and today we're going to be looking at Primm City. Now the city of Primm is located in the southwestern portion of the Mojave wasteland. Most players will be very familiar with Primm because it's a place that you pretty much have to visit if you follow the main quest. Now of course an experienced player might not go to Primm, instead trying to, take a faster route towards New Vegas. But most players would have been here during the main quest. But despite that, I wanted to take a look around Primm and try and find things some players might have missed. Now, Primm is of course based on the real-life town of Primm, Nevada. The reason I say Nevada is that it's actually quite important to Primm's location. You see, Primm sits right on the border of California and Nevada. So in Primm, they can have casinos and gambling, but on the other side of the border, they cannot. So it makes it a big gambling town for people from California. So within Fallout New Vegas, we can see that there are two remaining casinos within Primm. The first casino I want to talk about is the Bison Steve Hotel. However, this casino is out of repair. It's defunct, but it is inhabited by a bunch of convicts. However, once we complete the quest, My Kind of Town, all of the convicts within the hotel will be killed. Now, outside the hotel, the convicts can still live. The other casino is the Vikki and Vance casino, which has a lot of ties to Bonnie and Clyde. So, let's dive into Primm. So here at the beginning of Primm, we will find a lot of destroyed buildings, and we can actually go into some of these buildings. This building here, this kind of building, is very common within Fallout New Vegas. Now at the top we can find a magazine along with some ammunition crates. Now these ammunition crates have no open animation unlike any other crate within New Vegas. Now wandering around Primm we can find Ruby Nash, who if we talk to can make us a rad scorpion casserole if we bring her rad scorpion poison glands. She tells us that if it's prepared correctly, it will not kill you. So pretty interesting that people have started eating the poison glands of rad scorpions. Also, outside of the courier's office, we can find Daniel Wyand. Now, Daniel here has a lot of connections to the courier because he was actually courier number 4, and he was one of the decoys. However, he was intercepted, shot in the head, and he did not survive, unlike the main character. So, quite interesting, and it is likely that the main character, your courier, and Daniel knew each other at some point. Now inside the Mojave Express office we will find Johnson Nash, who is the husband of Ruby Nash, and of course this is where we can get Eddie, one of my favorite companions within New Vegas, but we have to fix or repair him to be operational. Now Nash can also sell us a lot of goods, including ammunition and aid. So not a bad place to stop by if you need some goods, especially in the early game. But besides that, there is not a whole lot in here, but we can see part of this building has collapsed, which I thought might be quite dangerous. Heading into the Vikki and Vance casino, I've talked about this in a previous video, talking about the Wyand's hideout. Now you can have a random, or not really random, but an encounter here with these thugs and Lila. However, if you're not present for the encounter, they will be killed by the people within the casino. Over here we can find Primm Slim, who is a deputy within the Primm Sheriff Department. Now, Primm Slim has a connection to the Wynds because he was attacked by the Wynds when they stole Vance's 9mm from the Vikki and Vance casino. Now, the Vikki and Vance casino is based on the real-life Whiskey Pete's casino in Primm. And Whiskey Pete's casino actually has the car that Bonnie and Clyde were killed in, and the Vikki and Vance casino has the car of which Vikki and Vance were killed in. And we can find some history about this car and some other relics. Here we can find Vance's gun, which reads, "The 9mm submachine gun preserved in the glass case to the left of this plaque is the actual weapon Vance carried in a paper-wrapped box under some suitcases in the trunk of his car during his and Vicki's crime spree. Never fired, and luckily untouched by the hail of bullets that ended its notorious owner's life. The weapon's mint condition inspires dread in all who look upon it. Experts speculate that Vance might have killed as many as 50 people had he ever fired the gun. so long as his aim was exact and he was starting off with a full clip, or even more if he had additional ammo clips and remembered to reload. Now, of course, there's a lot of sarcasm within this plaque, very characteristic of New Vegas, and you can also notice that the gun is missing from the case, and that is because it was stolen by the Wyands, a couple who raided the Vikki and Vance casino. Now, the player can encounter them and actually acquire Vance's submachine gun, which is actually a very good 9mm weapon within New Vegas, and I've made a video about that location in the Unexplored Mojave. Then over here we can see two mannequins which would have the attire worn by Vikki, and the plaque reads, Vikki's outfit. These replica outfits showed just how conscious Vikki was of the styles of the period. Vikki was well known for her sense of fashion, and her fixation on expensive clothing was thought to be one of the reasons the pair chose a life of crime. And again, if we go to the Wyand's hideout, we can see that Pauline Wyand is wearing Vikki's replica outfit. And then on the opposite side, we can find a plaque for Vance's outfit, which reads, Vance's outfits. These mannequins display replicas of some of the clothing that was found in the trunk of Vikki and Vance's death car. Vance didn't share Vikki's sense of fashion, and chose to dress himself how he envisioned a gangster would dress. So again, a lot of sarcasm, and of course, Sammy Wyand can be seen wearing Vance's outfit. Now I want to mention, in my previous video I misstated that Bonnie and Clyde influenced Vikki and Vance. Actually, Bonnie and Clyde are real characters or people within Fallout New Vegas. But in New Vegas, this is based on Vikki and Vance, who were kind of like copycats of Bonnie and Clyde. Then we can see Vikki and Vance's death car, which has a lot of bullet holes in it. In the real life Whiskey Peak Casino, you can see the Bonnie and Clyde death car still with a lot of bullet holes, along with some other memorabilia that was used by Bonnie and Clyde. In the back room of the Vikki and Vance Casino, we can see some advertisements that we see in other places of New Vegas, along with a safe that has very minimal loot. And of course, you can go gambling within the Vikki and Vance Casino. Now, across Primm, you can find a lot of dumpsters for whatever reason, and these dumpsters have random loot. Next, we can find the sheriff's house. Now, if you follow the story of the game, the sheriff of Primm was killed by convicts from the NCR Correctional Facility when the convicts escaped and kind of took over part of the town. However, the player can take back the town and reinstate a new sheriff, which will bring back law and peace to Primm. But you can see that the sheriff's house has been ransacked by the convicts. Even though we've appointed a new sheriff, the house is not cleaned up. And then we can see Deputy Beagle's house, who is held hostage by the convicts, and the player can help. And here we can hilariously see that Deputy Beagle was still injured from way in the beginning of my game when he got hurt as I saved his life from the convicts, and yet he is still limping around Primm, so I guess he unfortunately has a permanent injury. Now, using the roller coaster, we can actually get on the front of the roof here of the Bison Steve Hotel, and we can find some Kims and alcohol, along with a pair of binoculars. So I'd like to think that a convict was up here getting high and watching out for any NCR troops that might put an end to their rule of Primm. Now, while I was exploring, I found a convict at the top of the roller coaster, and I tried to kill him, but I never got any XP for killing him, nor did I see his body fall from the roller coaster. So I found out you can actually walk along the roller coaster and go all the way up from the ground floor. Now, of course, you can access it from the second floor, but it's not necessary if you want to go to the very top. But there was no body at the very top. However, we got a very good view of Primm. So real quick, some interesting trivia. The Bison Steve Hotel is based on the real-life Buffalo Bills Hotel and Casino. And this hotel was actually built fairly recently, within 1994. And this hotel actually features a roller coaster, just like the one in New Vegas. However, in our world, this roller coaster is unfortunately closed During COVID-19, the casino shut down, and when they reopened 2 years later, the roller coaster never reopened. So I would assume the operating cost is just too much for the casino within this small town. And as I mentioned earlier, the Vikki and Vance casino is based on the real-life Whiskey Pete's casino, and of course Whiskey Pete's casino holds the infamous car of Bonnie and Clyde. And if you're unfamiliar with Bonnie and Clyde, they are very infamous American convicts or criminals who were killed in a police shootout. Now, something I was definitely wondering is why in the hell is Bonnie and Clyde's car in Primm, Nevada? They were killed in Louisiana, and I found out that in 1988, their cars sold to the owners of the Whiskey Pete Casino at auction for $250,000. So that is how it made its way to Primm, Nevada, a very small town, but a very interesting relic to display at your hotel. Now, on the other end of this big hill on the roller coaster, I wanted to see if we could actually jump and make it to the other part of the roller coaster. However, I just missed it, and even if I took the power armor off, I don't think I would make it because the player kind of phases through that part of the rail. Now, I want to point out, on the lampposts that are fallen over, you can actually see the wires inside the lamppost that is powering the light. So just kind of cool, attention to detail on the part of Obsidian. And then over here we can see the crashed roller coaster, Diablo. And in real life, the roller coaster is called Desperado, so we can see some clear influence in the name. And then over here there was a convict. Now, these convicts do not disappear until you kill them. So in your New Vegas save, if you go to Primm and go on the roller coaster, I'm sure you might see some convicts that are left over that have been there for hundreds of hours just withering away in the Mojave sun. Now, inside Buffalo Steve's casino, there's this locked room, and we can get some bottle caps and medical supplies. This room might be hard to access for a newer player because of the skill level required to get inside, so I figured I would show it off. Also, inside the gift shop here, we can get a skill book, Tales of a Junktown Jerky Vendor, which will increase the player's barter skill, which is always really good. And then there's also a hard lock safe in which we can find the unique pistol, Lucky, which is a 357 revolver. So, really good gun and worth quite a few caps. Going to the back of the hotel, we can find the kitchen room where Deputy Beagle is being held, then the cafeteria, which would appear to be an all-you-can-eat place within Primm, and we can see that the convicts were roasting a Brahmin for their dinner. Now, going on to the second floor of the hotel, we can find all of the hotel rooms, and there are several hotel rooms up here, along with a lot of convicts. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you complete the quest My Kind of Town and exit Bison Steve's hotel, all of the convicts will just die. Now we can open this door here, which is a very easy lock, in order to get some medical supplies and a doctor's bag. Now there is an Easter egg up here towards the novel and film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. In one of the hotel rooms, there is a room where you will find two skeletons. One of them is in the bathtub with a knife, and then there's also a suitcase on the bed full of all kinds of drugs, or chems, as they are called in New Vegas. Now, this convict died in a very weird position. I don't know if that always happens, but I just thought it was funny. Then we also have a cabinet, which we can unlock using a key that we found on a convict to get some ammunition. Now, this part of the hotel is in really bad shape, but there is still some decent loot up here, including a lot of medical supplies and some ammunition, and as I mentioned before, there are chems here. Here we can see a skeleton in the bathtub with a lot of chems and alcohol, so probably having a good time as the world ended. Now, something that is worth mentioning is Primm is actually quite close to the detonation of an atomic bomb within New Vegas. Now, New Vegas was largely protected from atomic bombs, but there was one that exploded over the Mesquite Mountains, which is pretty close to Primm. Now, in another hotel room, we can find this ransom note, which reads, Mr. Peterson, if you want to see your wife alive again, bring the cash in small, unmarked bills to the Bison Steve on Tuesday. This note was likely written before the Great War, and this man probably never saw his wife again. Now, if we head towards the southern part of Primm, we can find a bunch of houses which people actually live in, and there's a bunch of mailboxes, and they're just pre-war houses. However, you're not supposed to be in here at night, otherwise the people get mad at you, and they'll follow you around like that man was aggressively doing. But all of these houses are pretty much copy and paste, and just Primm residents are inside. Then the other part of Primm is the NCR encampment. Now, the NCR does not, unfortunately, provide much support to Primm, but this can be changed during the quest to get them a sheriff, or you can choose a different route. Now, there are a lot of buildings here that are kind of falling apart and in disrepair. However, I couldn't find any real loot within these buildings. They've all been picked through, probably by the NCR themselves. However, there is a bed at the top of this one building that the player can sleep in. Going over to the actual camp, there's another bombed out building. However, this building that's next to the tents, we cannot enter. The back door is blocked off, and the front door has a couch blocking our entrance. So I wonder if there's supposed to be more to this house, but it was scrapped later in development. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something about Primm in New Vegas, or Primm in real life. Now, Primm has kind of become a place that a lot of New Vegas fans visit during their kind of pilgrimage to Las Vegas in honor of the New Vegas video game. So, have you ever been to Primm? What was it like? I would like to know. Also, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any recommendations for the next location, please post them in the comments section below. Until next time.